We often hear that in cases of murder, the court has found the perpetrator guilty of murder under Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code. In such a case, the court sentences the guilty to death penalty or life imprisonment. But many people still do not have the right knowledge about Section 302. Let's discuss Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code. So before we move on to all the complicated stuff, what is murder? At common law, murder was defined as the willful death of another person. A legal term of art known as malice aforethought includes the following sorts of murder. Grievous bodily harm murder is the act of killing someone in a way that is designed to damage them severely. The Indian Penal Code was implemented in 1862 during the British rule in India. Thereafter, the relation to need of society, amendments were made in the IPC from time to time. Most important changes under the Indian Penal Code was made especially after the India's independence. The most importance of IPC was such an extent that Pakistan and Bangladesh also adopted it for the purpose of criminal rule. So according to Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code, a person who commits murder faces death penalty or life imprisonment in jail as well as fine. The crime of murder is not subject to bail and it is not compoundable, which will not give himself to someone who has committed a murder. Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code is important in many ways. Persons accused of murder are tried under this section only. Further, if any case an accused of murder is found guilty of an offence, Section 302 provides a punishment to such offenders. It states that whoever commits murder shall be punished with either life imprisonment or death, along with fine. The primary point of consideration for court in matters relating to murder is the intent and purpose of this accused. That is why it is important that the object and the intention of the accused is proved in cases under this section. Wait, can minors be sentenced for murder? So children are the future of every nation, so they have to be carefully evaluated before they are awarded major punishment, such as the death penalty or life imprisonment. Punishment should be based on the principles of law of evidence. Justice Locker, who is the chairman of the Supreme Court Juvenile Justice Committee, observed that everyone held to death penalty cannot be awarded to juvenile convicts in every case relating to heinous crimes like rape and murder. He said that every person who is about 17 years of age or close to 18 years cannot be given the death sentence just because they have committed the heinous crime. Proper inference must be obtained after going through the evidence which is pertained to the crime. One more question. So does this section apply to all cases? Well, the Indian Penal Code covers for certain provisions of Section 302 and Section 302 can only be exercised only if the case satisfies all the conditions for the provisions of this section. If not completed, then another section can be used other than Section 302. Section 302 takes care of the intention of the person to commit the murder in court, but there are some cases in which person kills another person, but there's no intention to kill the person. So in all such cases, Section 304 of the Indian Penal Code is used in place of Section 302. So Section 304 lays down the certain provisions of the punishment of homicides in which the punishment of murder of any human being shall be punishable with imprisonment. So let's conclude by stating that Section 302 of the IPC is very detailed provision. Punishing an offender for murder might sound very straightforward, but there are a lot of aspects to be considered. The most important of them is the problem of deciding whether to award death penalty or life imprisonment. Further, as murder is non-bailable offence, pleading not guilty and hoping for bail application to be accepted also becomes difficult. So it is important for the courts to rely on the examine the facts and the circumstance of each case thoroughly when dealing with Section 302 of the Indian Penal Code.